At AmFest, we run into amazing people. I ran into Dr. Hutz Hertzberg, who's with Turning Point Academy, which is partly his vision, partly Charlie Kirk's vision on what do we do about woke education? How do we get the students that are being indoctrinated out and take them back to the principles of truth? You know, every great evil leader, Vladimir Lenin, Adolf Hitler, they all talked about getting the youth. Well, here, how about getting the youth for Jesus, getting the youth for biblical truth, getting the youth for principles that are in the Constitution? That's what Dr. Hertzberg is doing with Turning Point Academy. What role does faith play?
Faith is absolutely critical. You know, I'm so grateful. In fact, I wouldn't be in this role if Charlie didn't give me the freedom to bring my full faith to bear as a Christian. And of course, many of your viewers will know that Charlie's a Christian and actually became a Christian at a school that I was leading, as I mentioned earlier, in the northern suburbs of Chicago, which shaped the trajectory of Charlie's life. So he personally understands the power of Christian education.
And what were you doing at that school?
I was the president. And so, I can tell you the 1 minute version of the story. I get there, I'm the new president. This K through 12 school started by Dr. Wayne Grudem. Some of your viewers will know that name, famous systematic theologian. And when his kids were at that age, there was no school, Christian school in northern suburbs. He starts this school. Charlie is, several years later, Charlie comes in third grade, has a wonderful third grade teacher, has a wonderful fourth grade teacher, has a godly fifth grade teacher. Every day, she would pray over the desk of the kids in her class. Every day, she'd pray. And in that class, she had a young gangly youth by the name of Charlie Kirk. And so during
He's always been tall?
He's always been tall.
Okay.
I asked Cindy, she was still there when I got there. And I said, tell me what Charlie was like when he was a fifth grader. She said, Charlie always had a football that he was carrying, and then he was also organizing all the youth, all the other classmates. So I thought things don't change that much. I mean, here's Charlie organizing even back in fifth grade. But anyway, so I was president of the school. Charlie's long gone. His folks take him out after fifth grade. He goes to the public school, not because he became a Christian, by the way, for other reasons. And so now I'm there. There's a former classmate who's now working at our school. He starts telling me about this guy named Charlie Kirk. And I said, no, I've never heard of him, but he sounds like a wonderful young man. Love to learn more about him. Didn't think much more about it. No more than a day or two later, I get a text from Charlie saying, congratulations, I'm being president of my former school. There's anything I can do to help you, let me know. And Charlie became a friend. He became a donor, became a generous donor. That started our relationship. And so when he had this vision to start Turning Point Academy several years later, he reached out to me, and that's how we started. But all that to say that if we didn't share a common faith that began back in a Christian school for Charlie, and that's a passion of mine, which is where I've given a good part of my life is Christian education, I wouldn't be leading this. But to answer your question, Kevin, the faith, our Christian faith, God's word is absolutely central. And if Charlie said to me, well, you really can't talk much about that, but he hasn't said that. He said just the opposite. So we lead with the fact that we're Christian. In fact, we feel so strongly that you take Christian out of education, it's less than a complete education. It's a vacuous education. There may be some communication of knowledge or transmission of knowledge or of facts, but it's not an education that's going to lead to wisdom. And we're about leading kids to true wisdom. And so that begins with a strong faith in God. And we don't pull any punches. We lead with it. And most people are glad for it. There's some that say, well, this is not for me.
Well, if it's not for them, it's not for them.
That's right.
But there are people who crave it. We need God's answers in every
Amen.
aspect of life. That's part of what we do at Economic War Room is we do biblical versions of it. And we've talked about, I mentioned this to you. I'm going to give you this book. I think you read it and let me know if that's, I bet you don't have monetary curriculum. Most people don't. It's not economics, it's monetary curriculum.
Right. And I know there's a difference, but you're right. We have an excellent economics curriculum. This may be our start of our monetary curriculum.